See him? Yeah. All right, what's going on, y'all? This is Operation TF7, and today we are doing a roof leak repair on a 2009 Honda Accord. Pretty much this goes almost the same for every car, because every car has drainage systems that go down from the roofs down to the fenders for the fronts, and that drain from the roof to the trunks on the back. So basically, somewhere around this area, there's a leak coming in. It's a water leak. Every time it rains, water comes in on the interior, and it basically, like the water, I mean, I've never seen the water like in person, but there has been several occasions where the inside has smelled very, very soggy after a rainstorm. And on the other side, and this side of my the driver's side carpet, sometimes it's wet. So my only thing that I could blame it on is a water leak. And the windows are always closed, the doors are locked, so you know it couldn't be that. So today, what I'm gonna do, we're gonna find this problem, we're gonna diagnose it, and we're going to fix it professionally. So, some things you're gonna need for this project is gonna be some rags. It can be any rag. Rags are gonna be used to clean. Basically, the rags that you're gonna be using, you're gonna use these rags to clean the area of the gutter. You're gonna use that to clean the dirt out, and you're gonna use that to prepare the surface for painting. Also, you're gonna be using sandpaper, preferably 100 grit and 800 grit. Sandpaper is gonna be used to also prepare the surface for painting, to get rid of any rust or any cracks, to show the bare surface of the material, of the metal, so that you're not just painting over the rust. Also, you're gonna need these three: Flex Seal, you're gonna need some type of primer, and you're gonna need the paint for the vehicle. And so what I have here is Flex Seal. It's a liquid rubber sealant coating, and basically what it does is it will stop water from getting in. It seeps into cracks and it stops water. I've heard it's very, very good, so we're gonna use that today. And I've also used it on electronics. It's very, very like, it works. Trust me. Also, we got primer. So the primer is going to help the paint to adhere to the surface of the material. And if you want to get specific, you're going to need the type of paint that your car has on it already, like the exact paint. This one's alabaster silver, and as you can see on the cover of it, it says alabaster silver matte. Matte stands for metallic. You're also going to need some tape, some masking tape, so that you can mask the surface of your so you can mask the area so that everything else doesn't get painted, only the area that you're painting. You're going to need some screwdrivers. Preferably you're going to need a flathead screwdriver so that you can pry off the trim lining that hides the cracks. And if anything, you might need a bottle of water or two, because this is going to be a little bit of a project. All right, so basically how you're gonna do this, how you're gonna start removing the trim. You're gonna take this flathead screwdriver, and you're gonna go up against this. And actually what you're gonna do before you use a screwdriver, you're gonna go to the front and you're gonna push on you're gonna push this trim to move it back a little bit slightly, because there's a little ball joint under it that's hinged, that needs to be moved over so that it can come out. So basically, I'm gonna take this, and so this right here, you're gonna take this and you're gonna push it up slightly. Well, actually, you're gonna pull it rather. So once that's pulled forward, you're gonna come back to the area where the rear is, and it's gonna show a spacing. Now, once you see this spacing, you're gonna and do not press on the glass. If you press on the glass, you have a chance of cracking the rear windshield, and you don't want to do that. So you're gonna take this, and you're gonna pry it up like so, and it's gonna come up like this. And so from there, we have From there, we have another small hinge. You're gonna take it. That's small. You have another small hinge, and what you're gonna do? You're gonna take it while it's up like this. You can see it. It's white. You're gonna take this and you're gonna push it forward like so to free it up, and then the rest of them are gonna go as corresponding. So this is gonna free up like so. This is gonna free up, push it forward like so, and now is basically where you get to a little bit more of the tricky part. So they're stuck in. So what you do here is focus. You're going to pull on these. You're gonna pull on them like so. Try to move them away from move them towards the windshield to try to free them. And so you just keep going down like this. Just pull them out. Focus. Just keep pulling them out like so until you reach the bottom. And so this long strip here, this is basically the part that hides all of this. You can see how far it goes. It goes all the way back here, and it acts as a drain. So what we're looking at, our problem actually is here. Now, as you can see, there is a little bit of a crack there. So there's a crack there, and there's another long one that runs down here. So basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna clean this up, and we're going to prepare this thing to be fixed, and then after it's fixed, we're going to paint over it. And so to begin, I'm gonna start by wiping. So any area that you see that's dirty, wipe it off, clean it up. Make sure that there isn't any dirt in this area, because it's important that you make sure. And on any other pieces of material out of there that involves trim, get those things out of there as well. Like any of the old, like beat up material from like the earlier times when the car was made. All those things, they get corroded in the sunlight and they eventually fall off. So we gotta clean those up as well. Oh, also, see another crack here? That's a big one. So basically this whole side we're gonna do repairs on. So after you're done wiping, what you're gonna do is this little piece of where you see this rusted area right here and this long crack down here, all of those are going to be filled. So in order to get them to show as much of the bare material as possible and get all of the rust out, we're gonna use this 120 grit sandpaper. You're gonna fold it to the side and you're gonna do this. So what you're gonna wanna do, you're gonna wanna do this. And you're gonna continue to do this. Be sure not to let the sandpaper touch any other part except the part that you're trying to fix. And you're gonna do this until as much of that rust is gone as you can remove. Basically, you're trying to remove as much of that rust out of there as possible so that it doesn't spread. Because rust is something that tends to, like, if it's in one area, it's going to be in another in relative time. So basically just keep doing that until it's like a silver color, like the car is. That'll be exposing the material that's under the rust. All right, so once you're done, with the sandpaper, the surface of the material should look something similar to this. And basically that white, well, that orangish looking color, that's actually the primer, the original vehicle primer showing on the bottom. And around it, well, actually on the inside, where the black is, that's actually rusted. So I can't really get in there as deep as I would want to. So we're gonna leave it that way, and then now what we're gonna do, we're gonna mask this off, and we're gonna prepare it for the Flex Seal. All right, so I got any areas that I think would be affected by the Flex Seal. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna spray it in here. It comes out almost like paint does. So you do it a little bit at a time. Okay, so now we just wait for it to set, and then after that, then we're gonna come behind it with the primer and the paint. So this is what the back looks like. The rear, near the rear windshield, is this crack right here. And so also, before you start applying the Flex Seal, make sure this little grommet right there, like this little grommet here, make sure that it's covered, because it's gonna get Flex Seal over if you don't. You're gonna start right here, and you're just gonna come straight down. And so like that, and then you're gonna leave it in there to sit down. And once everything is nice and set, then you'll come back, and then we'll begin putting over the primer. Alrighty, so we're back out here again. This is day 2, and basically what we're gonna do is remove the masking tape and see what the results look like. So as you can see, the Flex Seal did its job. It basically seeped into the cracks. Focus. It seeped into the cracks. It got in where water usually gets in through, and it solidified that, and it hardened, and it rubberized, and now it's ready to be primered. Now let's peel up the back as well. As you can see, the back, the same thing. Everything's nice, and everything got in where it's supposed to go. And now what we can do is begin to prepare this for primering. All right, so I masked off and covered the areas that might get paint, that might get some primer on them when I'm painting. So we're gonna primer just this area alone, but it's also good to make sure that you cover, the surrounding area, to make sure that nothing gets that primer don't get on it, because you would have a time trying to remove it. So what we're gonna do is on a primer, and always remember to shake up, anything that you use regarding paint before you spray it, just to mix up the elements. I'm gonna start little by little. Okay, so we're gonna let that dry. Now we're gonna come over it with another coat again. So it's dry now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over it again, doing the exact same thing. And then after I let that dry, I'm gonna let that sit for about an hour or so. And then we're gonna come over with the paint. So like so. And remember, primer, this is sandable primer, so basically the way it dries almost like powder. It dries in a way that you're going to be able to use sandpaper and abrasively scrub it off. So, it's good to put a decent amount down. So now the back is the back leak is all covered off. It's isolated, so I'm gonna primer it up also. Let's wait for the wind. Okay, so I'm gonna start spraying. It's stuck. So basically what just happened was the paint can jammed and I was able to get it unjammed. So now we're gonna continue with the primer. Oh, okay. So remember, cover this part also.
Alright, so we're gonna let this sit and then come back to it later on.
Alright, so the primer is dry. So now we're gonna go over this with a coat of the vehicle paint, the alabaster silver. So it's gonna put this rag over here because the wind is blowing in that direction. So basically, like if you're painting, be careful of the wind, because sometimes the wind can blow the paint over to another area and it can affect that area, and it can affect that area as well. So, you know, be careful with that. Like if there's another car in front of you, always make sure that there's enough space between you and the car for the paint to you know, like dissipate into the air before it touches another object. So we're gonna go over this a few times. And so we're gonna leave it like that, and then we're gonna come back to it a little bit later, wait for it to dry. Okay, so this primer is done drying. So we're gonna paint over this with the vehicle paint now. Let's try to cover, and again, make sure everything's, you know, like nice and covered, especially the glass, as close as you can get it. And now let's begin. The wind is blowing hard, man. All right, so now we're gonna leave this, let it dry, let it get back to normal, let it calm down, and then we're gonna come back and peel it and peel off all of the masking tape. Okay, so now both sides are dry. I'm gonna start peeling this off. And so this is the final result. So if you guys like what you see, this is what, you know, this is what a roof repair involves. So I'm gonna go to the rear now and do the same thing. Little piece in here. Oh shoot. Man, that's not good. Well, I kind of touched it by accident, but when everything dries, it should be okay. But so yeah, so that's how, you know, you repair roof leaks on a car. And you know, the only thing I'll suggest that you do is just, you know, try to give a little bit a lot longer periods of time for drying of the paint, because if they're too soft, then they can be affected easily by, you know, by objects, so by the outside world. So, you know, just, you know, be mindful of that. And now the only thing that's left to do is to put on the liner that covers this. And so to reinstall this, you just reverse the steps and start from the front. Starting from the front. This first piece goes in like so. Push it in a little bit, and then click. And put these little teeth down into their places, one by one. Then from this side going in, put these get these on rails. Like so. Same as for the next one, and they're all gonna correspond with each other like this. Oh yeah, also, I'm supposed to take this off. There's tape on this, covering it. A little it looks like a small, it's like a bulge, looks like a doorknob. And so let's press the area around it to make sure everything's flat. And so the same way this goes on, we're gonna put it on directly, preferably pushing it forward, a little bit forward. Then actually make sure the rest of them are clamped on before you do this. See him? Yeah. And now that it's down like this, now you're gonna take the front and push it back. Make sure that this is flush also. And this part is flush with this part. And then when you come to the back, it should look like this. Now, if there's any cleaning, you can, you know, use a rag and some soap and water and try to get these off. That was, you know, sometimes accidents happen, but you know, for the most part, fix the roof. It's back to new. It's back like new again. So, all in all, that is how you repair. That's how you do roof repairs on a 2009 Honda Accord, or for that matter, any car. You just need either silicone, Flex Seal, paint, and something to cover it with. So, with that being said, like, share, subscribe. I got many more videos coming up soon. Take care.